Hey, it's JC. Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we explore the urban lifestyle and jungle survival. Today I've got an interesting video for you where we discuss how to get started in jungle bushcraft with only $100. That's right, let's assume you only have a budget of $100 to buy gear. What are the pieces of gear to get? I know what you might be thinking, gear is expensive, and I do not disagree. If you want good quality gear, it's gonna cost you a bit of money, but it doesn't mean that's what you must spend right at the start of your bushcraft journey. In fact, when you just start bushcrafting, you might not want to invest so much because you want to see if you're going to enjoy it, you want to see what works for you, and therefore you just want to give it a shot. Or maybe you just don't have the budget allocated to fund a bushcraft hobby because you got your priorities wrong, like wanting to go to school or have kids. But that's okay. In this video, I'm going to show you the essential items you need if you want to start jungle bushcrafting and only want to spend $100. First, if you watch this channel regularly but have not subscribed, please do so to help the channel out. And if you'd like to support the channel even more, do check out my shop links in the pinned comment or description below. You can even join as a channel member. Thanks a lot. Let's start off with some tools, and the most important tool for the jungle is the parang or machete. And in Southeast Asia, if you go to any hardware store, you generally can find really cheap parangs. So I'm not talking about big brand departmental hardware stores. Go to local hardware stores and you'll be able to find locally made parangs. You can get one for US $7 or less. At $7, you probably get a sheath as well. This probably cost about $5 to $6. It did not come with a sheath. So if you're on a budget, you can buy a really cheap PVC sheath, which they sell, or you can make one out of PVC tubing. But this is essentially a parang. It's made of spring steel. At this price, it's always recycled steel, and it comes with a plastic handle most of the time. Some will come with wooden handles depending which country you're in, but at that price, generally it's these molded plastic handles. The fit and finish is not great, and these are rat tail parangs. They're not full tang, so they extend to around here, just past the halfway mark to the 2/3 mark. And this is a traditional parang design, really designed to absorb shock, and it's also easier to make. But generally, these parangs can hold up. If you use them over time and abuse them, they'll definitely become loose. Then you have to clean it out and re-epoxy it, but that's how they would repair parangs. Now, this particular parang I actually have reviewed before on my channel, and it's not too bad. I was pleasantly surprised. A lot of local parangs don't have a good reputation, but for the money, this was quite decent. But I have seen bad ones as well, so you really have to try to find one or be lucky if you can order one. But that's the parang at $7. Next up is a folding saw that you can get for about US $8. I got this from a local hardware store and it only cost me about US $3. I know, it's of course not going to be great quality, but it has a lock. It is a carbon steel blade, relatively comfortable. Obviously, I can feel it's not the best fit and finish. This is not going to last me a lifetime, but it definitely can last me a couple of trips out in the jungle. Because I'm not sawing down any forest of trees, I'm just cutting a few branches. If I'm going to be processing wood, I can be using it in conjunction with the parang as well. So you want a saw because it's just more efficient, you use less energy, and it's a cleaner cut than, let's say, a parang. So a folding saw is definitely on your list. At a low budget, you can't get a good parang and folding saw. But at a low budget, you can get a reasonably good fixed blade in the form of this Moronif companion. So it's great to have a fixed blade to go out for clean cuts. The parang is a great one-two option, but if you want to do finer work, then you definitely want to have a good fixed blade on hand. Now, you can get Moro knives for really cheap, but it depends which country you're in. For example, in Asia, Moronifs are actually quite expensive because they have to ship in. Then you can consider something like the Ganzo. So the Ganzo also offers a similar sort of fixed blade with a plastic over-molded handle, and that works out quite well, and the price would be about the same, again, depending where you are and how much the eventual cost is. But get a $15 fixed blade in the form of the Moronif companion or a Ganzo fixed blade. When you're in the hot and humid jungle, water is your most important resource, so you need to be able to bring and collect and boil water. So you can get a set like that for $20 made of stainless steel. There is a cup with a handle, And there's also a bail hook, so you can hook it underneath a tripod or any kind of stand that you make, and this can nest inside. Now the bottle itself is stainless steel, the cap is plastic, but you take it off in order to boil water if you need. Now together they nest, so they take up less space, and you have 1 liter of water that you can keep inside. When you're out in the wilderness, you want to be able to start a fire, so it's good to put together some kind of a basic fire kit, and this you can put together for about $10. Now in the jungle, because it's just so hot and humid, you will not need it to keep warm, although you might want to start a fire for morale, but you need it to cook your food or to boil water. So you need to put together maybe a lighter with some duct tape, which acts as a fire extender. And this is an S-bit stove, which is basically a folding stove. Just makes it convenient to keep everything together. And then you also have a stand for your cup or your pot. And here I've just got a bunch of different sort of fire starters and kindling. I do have a commercially available fire starter. I've got dry natural jute, which is great as a form of kindling because it's just dry and easily catches fire. And then with wax jute as well, something I've shown how to make before. Inexpensive to put all this together, and with that US $10 budget, you can get all this and excess because these are consumables, so over time you need to refill them. Here's probably the cheapest item on the list at about $2. You get a bandana, and there are just so many uses for a bandana, whether it's to wipe perspiration, whether it's to use as a water filter, at least the first stage of a water filter if you are getting water from a natural water source. You can use it to cover wounds if you need. Just a versatile piece of kit. One tip is to get the 100% cotton ones. A lot of them now are kind of a polyester blend. You really want the 100% cotton one, and you actually can feel the softness in it because it's just going to act, in my opinion, as a better water filter, and it's also just more comfortable. Next up is paracord, the bushcrafter's favorite item. Now this is just a versatile item for you to do all kinds of bushcraft projects, whether it's building a shelter, building furniture, or whatever your project might be. It's just useful stuff, and there are individual strands. In this case, this is 550 paracord, so there's 7 individual strands inside that you can pull out. You can use that as fishing lines, you can use that to repair gear, you can use that to even make a fish net if you need. There's so many things you could do, and it's also a great tool for you to practice and learn your knots. Now something like this you can get for about $8 US, and this is made in USA. If you choose the China ones, they are much cheaper. Now take note that the China ones probably aren't that rated, but if you're not using the paracord for heavy loads and you just want to use it for maybe lightweight shelters to hold down your tent or your tarp shelter, go ahead and get the China ones. They're cheaper. Learn with it, cut with it, burn them, and then upgrade to the more expensive stuff later. One piece of kit I always advise anyone when going out to the jungle, especially if you are spending extended time out, it will be to get a ground sheet. Now you can get this for about $10 US. It's good quality, but you probably get one this size. You can't get a huge ground sheet, but this is good enough for one person. The jungle is just muddy, it's full of bugs, and generally if it's dry it's fine, but if it's wet it gets a bit dirty. It's nice to have a ground sheet to be able to sit down or lie down on if you're tired during the day. So get a ground sheet as part of your bushcraft kit. The last piece of kit you want to get to fit the $100 budget is to get a tarp or fly sheet. And this is a 3 meter by 3 meter tarp, or 10 feet by 10 feet. And you want this because this is the basis for you to build and experiment with all kinds of tarp shelters. And this is probably the most flexible size and also a very common size for one person. So start with this. Now this sort of basic tarp generally would only have eyelets at the 4 corners, and if you're lucky, in the middles on the sides as well. But there will not be any tie-ups, or there'll be very few tie-ups. So don't expect ultra lightweight with many tie-ups at this price. But you have to start somewhere, and in fact this is the one I started with and it served me well. At this price, this particular one also has a reflective surface on the inside, so it's like this silver material on the other side, and it's great for the hot sunny conditions. So if you build a shelter, it's not that warm inside. And there you have it, the 9 items you can get for US $100 to start your jungle bushcraft journey. Of course, if you're in a temperate country, your items might vary slightly, but my experience is in the tropical jungle environment, so these items will suffice. Let me know if you think anything is missing or if you switch out any of these pieces of gear. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In the near future, I'll do a video on the first 3 things you can do when you start bushcrafting, and I'll use this kit right over here. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.